If you ever think you are one of the worst persons in your own life, then तुम अपने आप को lucky समझो. At least you are not Kier Starmer. क्योंकि भाई after countless failures of his own making, वो अभी जाके यूके का प्राइम मिनिस्टर का पोजीशन से रिजाइन कर रहा है. एंड पीपल आर एक्चुअली सेलिब्रेटिंग इट एन अब्रॉड. और इसका मीम्स भी बहुत भयानक आ रहा है.
Has been about putting the country I love first. That is why I will resign as leader of the Labour Party. I have spoken to His Majesty the King this morning to inform him of my decision. It's been about putting the country I love first. That is why I will resign as leader of the Labour Party. I have spoken to His Majesty the King this morning to inform him of my decision.
आई मीन टू बी ऑनेस्ट वो एब्सोल्युटली अपना कंट्री का स्टेट को खराब कर चुका था एट दिस पॉइंट. सो आई एम नॉट रियली शॉक्ड कि वो अभी जाके रिजाइन कर रहा है फ्रॉम द प्रेशर ऑफ द पब्लिक of his own country and his own Labour Party. I mean, it's way different compared to India, and the next leader of their country is even more bad than Starmer, yaar. And the thing is कि UK अभी at this point it hasn't had a prime minister candidate जो अपना टर्म को properly complete किया है, which is absolutely insane given कि वो एक first world country है. And they say that it's way better than India.
Then it seemed to go away, at least here in the States, for a couple of months. What happened in the last week that led Kier Starmer to officially resign?
Yes, I mean, look, everyone knew it was coming at some point. The question was when. And what happened in the last week specifically is this other Labour candidate called Andy Burnham, who was the mayor of Manchester, finally won a seat in Parliament. He was effectively someone stood down to allow him to do that, and he is widely considered to be the next contender. But you're right, you look back over the last few months, and you have had countless U-turns by Kier Starmer. You've had local elections in which the Labour Party were decimated by a lot of other parties, by Reform in particular. And, of course, you had Peter Mandelson, who was the man that Kier Starmer picked to become ambassador to America. And it turned out he had close relationships with Jeffrey Epstein, hadn't disclosed them, and Kier Starmer knew that when he put him in place. So all of these different things have been building, but it was the appointment of Andy Burnham, who was widely expected to be the next Labour leader and then the next Prime Minister in the last week, that really made the move. But look, the next Prime Minister will be the 7th Prime Minister in 10 years here in the UK. It has been a decade of constant overhaul, and the party, the country, just can't seem to decide which way it wants to go.
No, but that was my question. I mean, this kickstarts, this process for the country to see, as you said, the 7th leader in a decade. That's a lot of turnover. That is an ever-revolving door. What does that mean historically for the country, and really, what does it mean, for the time being right now?
Well, yes, if you went back 20 years, much like the US, every prime minister was in place for 5 years and there was another election, and it was like that for decades and decades. Well, that has changed dramatically. What we expect to see now, and Kier Starmer said it in his resignation speech, is that a new contest will begin on July the 9th, and he will stay prime minister till then. Now, the Labour Party will pick the next prime minister because they're the party that was voted in, and there are a couple of other candidates who might run for it as well. There's West Streeting is the main one at the moment, but Andy Burnham has been talking to West Streeting, and it appears as if they might be doing a deal with Andy Burnham telling this other man, if you stand down, I'll give you one of the plum roles in my government. Now, that means that it would be considered an appointment, that the party won't have voted for the next Prime Minister, and that upsets many people. So either you have these candidates running against each other, which frankly hurts the party because they all criticise each other for 2 months, or else you pick one person in this case, and many people criticise that as being a coronation. So either way, there's going to be criticism of just moving on to a new leader without the country itself having elected him.
Then a face familiar to the Fox audience, of course, is Nigel Farage. Was this move done with an eye toward eventually staving off a Nigel Farage prime ministership?
100%. In the local elections that took place in May, the Labour Party lost across the country to Nigel Farage's Reform Party. They are right now the biggest party in the UK, and they came from nowhere the last couple of years. Now, in the by-election that took place just a week or so ago, in which Andy Burnham won, he did surprisingly well against Reform. And so many people in the Labour Party are saying, well, wow, this might be the one person who could push back against Nigel Farage and his party. And that is why they have pushed against Kier Starmer. That's why they forced him to resign, because they think that this guy, Andy Burnham, might be the one person who can fight back against Nigel Farage. But still, you look at the figures right now, and the Reform Party, Nigel Farage, has a clear, if there was a general election, has a clear path to victory. So there are 2 more years till there has to, 3 more years almost, till there has to be a general election in the UK. So whoever comes in next could just keep waiting, and stay in power that long. But that comes down to who wins this by-election, how they choose the next leader. Will they force that general election to be sooner? The sooner it is, the more chance Nigel Farage has of becoming the next, or the second future Prime Minister.
Ben, do you foresee this changing the framework and how the rest of the world operates with us, or do you think this is just going to stick with the country?
Well, look, you look around other countries in Europe, and they've seen quite a lot of flipping as well, of prime ministers as well. There seems to be a change right now, particularly with middle-level countries who don't quite know where they stand. I will say, when we look at the world, you have to see how Kier Starmer, his relationship with President Trump, because frankly, the most important thing that the UK does at the moment is shore up its special relationship with America. Now, Kier Starmer began with a really quite strong relationship with President Trump. They are on different sides of the political spectrum. Kier Starmer, the Labour Party, are left. President Trump is a Republican, so they are on either side. But after the beginning, and Kier Starmer came to the White House, the Oval Office, he gave President Trump a formal invitation to the
regardless of what you think, at the end of the day UK is absolutely cooked. और एक ऐसा कंट्री का एग्जांपल वो अभी सर्व कर रहा है कि what people should not do, which should make their own country better.
Starmer refused to resign.
I will never walk away from the country that I love.
Then Lowe released the R report of everything Kier was ignoring. Then they tried to ban it on social media sites. Search engines essentially refused to link you, and even ChatGPT can't even talk about it. But then the Roach King, Asmund Gould, read all 218 pages to his 4 million subscribers for nearly 7 hours live on stream.
You guys ready? You think you are, but you're not.
And 3 days later, Kier Starmer has resigned as Prime Minister, feigning success in his position,
Restoring trust on the economy, defence and national security. And becoming a party that once again stood proudly with, not against, our national flag.
then crying like a bitch.
Being the best husband I can to my fantastic wife Vic, who has been a rock by my side through good times and bad. And being the best dad I can to my beautiful children.
If only he cared about protecting any of those other innocent 250,000 British girls, but no, he only seemed to care when it finally impacted him, making his own party turn on him, demanding his resignation. As Lowe directly acknowledged, Asmund Gould was sharing the reports with the masses, doing more for those British girls than the entire British media establishment. And correlation doesn't equal causation, and it normally would be a stretch to say an American Twitch streamer can end the career of UK's Prime Minister, but in the world of TikTok attention spans, mass media censorship, and reality television, sometimes it takes pop culture to finally find justice. R&B singer R. Kelly's criminal behavior was an open secret. It took a lifetime documentary to reinvigorate public outrage for him to finally see justice.
This is not me. I'm fighting for my life. Y'all killing me with this.
With countless other instances similar to this. So it almost seems like Starmer's Labour Party was completely fine with the R report and the 250,000 essentially sacrificial lambs, all in an effort to control the narrative about immigration. But once a guy called the Roach King got all the normies noticing the heinous things they've not only been allowing, but assisting in and actually paying for, only then is it time for Starmer to step aside. But sadly, the escalation in the UK is already spiraling, as another mass slashing occurred in Edinburgh, Scotland. And even though this time, Starmer immediately stated it was absolutely appalling and he will face the full force of the law, it's interesting how this has dominated the media, completely erasing the other recent mass slashing also in Edinburgh, Scotland, that somehow wasn't considered terror-related like the more recent attack. And I've been hearing rumors that the first guy was deemed unfit for trial and was immediately released for medical care, but I can't even find the first attacker's name, let alone concrete confirmation of what consequences, if any, he's faced. As Asmund Gould reacted to this attack being painted as the R report's fault.
That his bullshit gang report falsely claiming Muslims 250,000 white girls same week. Elon Musk, is anyone surprised? They're inciting violence against Muslims and emboldening extremists. If you think this is bad, this is nothing. You've created an entire narrative, and you've done all of this in the span of 3 hours since this event happened. And now everybody else has to listen to this narrative. Who gives a? Who cares? I don't want to hear about this. This person defends every terrorist in the world, and now he wants us to be worried about something bad happening to people like him.
And I never want to go down the path of our defenseless innocents get hurt, so your defenseless innocents get hurt, as what should happen is the second insane stabber gets the same lifelong sentence as the first, and any other insane stabber receives. Where the UK is essentially setting up a third world, tribal-led, lawless society where the controlling party is given special privileges to commit crimes, as society is scared of what happens when you ask them to stop.
Anyways guys, that's about it for this video. Do let me know your thoughts in the comment section. आप लोग क्या सोचते हैं? And do leave a like and a subscribe if you want more of my content. That's about it. Peace out. Have fun.